Hi everyone, you're welcome to my channel. This is Emma Styles. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are new here, thank you for stopping by, and to my returning subscribers, thank you for always coming here to watch my videos. In today's video, we'll be learning how to make an underburst corset. So if this is something that interests you, this video is definitely for you. So sit back, relax and watch. I styled my underburst corset on my shirt, as you can see, and I also styled it wearing my gown. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, click on the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on your post notification bells to get notifications anytime I post new videos. I will be making use of these Ankara fabrics to make my underburst corset. Then I have my brown paper here. I'll be drafting it out on the brown paper before cutting it out on the fabrics, and I have my other materials. I have my marker, my tape rule and my scissors. I'll be drafting it out on the brown paper first before cutting it out on my fabrics. For your measurements, you're going to be making use of your waist measurement. Mine is 29 inches and I'm going to be dividing it by 2, which gives me 14.5 inches. Then I'll be adding 5 inches to the 14.5 inches, which gives me 19.5 inches. The reason why I'm adding the 5 inches is because I'm going to be dividing the panel into 5. And each panel is going to have 1 inch sewing allowance. The next thing is the center front length. That is how long you want your corset to be. I chose my center front to be 8 and I had 1 inch sewing allowance, which gives me 9. And then the center back length, in which I'll be making use of 6 inch plus 1 inch sewing allowance, making it 7 inches. So guys, these are the measurements that we'll be drafting out on the brown paper. As you can see, I have my waist, I have my center front length and my center back length. Right now, I'm going to be marking the measurements out on the brown paper. I'm going to draw out my center front line, and after that, I will draw out my waistline. So I will label this my center front line, and after that, I will draw out 19.5 inches for my waistline. That is my waist measurement divided by 2 plus 5. I will just mark out a straight line on it as you see me do, like this. So now I'm going to draw out my waistline. After that, I will label the line, that is my waistline. So now I'm going to be dividing my waistline by 2, and that gives me 9.75 inches. But because I'm going to be dividing the front into 3 and back into 2, I'm going to be adding extra 1 inch to it. So instead of marking out 9.75 inches, I'm going to be marking out 10.75 inches. I'm sorry guys, this point that I marked out here was a mistake. I did not add 1 inch to the 9.75. So right now I'll go ahead and add the 1 inch to the 9.75, and that gives me 10.75 inches. So I will make another point that is where I have 10.75 inches. I'm just going to draw a straight line across my 10.75 inches, and that is going to be my side seam. So guys, we have the back and also the front now. I'm now going to divide my center front measurement divided by 2, put that on the waistline, and then measure at the top and at the bottom. Now I'm going to do the same for the side. It's going to be 3 up, 3 down. This will change a bit, but it's fine. It's just going to give us the idea of how what we are doing is going to work. I'm going to be marking the same measurements on the back line. So now I'll be dividing the panel into 2, and that will be it for the back. And for the front part, you're just going to draw a free sketch like my own here to make a shape that you want. You guys should pardon my sketch, I'm not that good at drawing. And for the top part, I'll be measuring 1 inch from the center front, and I'm also going to freestyle this. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can correct it when sewing. So now from the side, I just measured 2.5 inches away. So now I'm just going to correct it. You will notice that it's different from what I marked earlier, but it's fine. Now I'm just going to join the back and I'm basically done. So for the front, I'm just going to freestyle it as well. I'm going to divide it into 3, and these lines are lines that I'll be placing my boning. So I'm just going to do a little dart to shape the waist, and I'm measuring 0.75 just to give it a snatch waist. Then after that, I'm going to cut it out. If you are a beginner, you have to label it so that you won't get confused because the pieces are many. So guys, as you can see, I've labeled mine here. I have my center front, then I have my front 1, 2, 3 because my front piece is divided into 3. Then I have my back 1 and back 2 because the back piece is divided into 2. So right now, I'll just go ahead and cut out all the pieces. So all the pieces that I have here with me, I'll be cutting it out in 2/4 on my fabrics. I mean, I'll be cutting 2 pieces each with my fabrics. Now I'm done with the pattern drafting, and this is the fabrics that I'll be using for my underburst corset. I have my fabrics here already. Then I have my lining. After my lining, I have my stay. Then I have the pattern I already drafted out, and also I have my boning. So now I'm going to be placing my pattern on my fabrics just to cut out the fabrics that I'll be using to cut my pattern. So now I'll just cut out the exact fabrics that I need in cutting out my underburst corset. The next thing I'll be doing now is to iron my hairstay to my fabrics. So this is what I have when I added the hairstay to the fabrics. So now I'll be adding my lining to the fabrics before placing the pattern that I already drafted on it. So guys, when I'm done placing the pattern on the fabrics, I'll just go ahead and use my pin to pin it down so that I will not be shifting when I'm cutting it. Then after I've pinned it down, I will cut every pattern out. I already cut out every pattern here, and the next thing I'll be doing now is to arrange each patterns as I'll be placing it on each other so as not to get confused while placing it together. So guys, I already arranged it here as I'll be pinning it to each other before stitching it with my sewing machine. So I'll be taking them one after the other here, then I'll use my pin to pin everything together before taking it to the sewing machine to stitch it down. As I'm taking my fabrics, I'm replacing the pattern paper on the lining so as not to get confused when pinning down the lining as well. So now guys, as you can see, this is my center front and that is my F1 as well. It's the same thing. My center front is my F1. Then I'll go ahead now and take my front second, that is my F2, and I will pin it to my center front on both sides. Remember, it is 2 pieces. Then after that, I will also take my F3, then I will pin it also to my center front 1 and my front 2. I'm done pinning down all my front piece here, and the next thing I'm doing now is to pin my back piece, that is my back pattern, to the front pattern that I already pinned down. So now the back piece too will go first, and after that I'll pin down my back piece 1. This is what I have now after pinning down all my pieces together, and the next thing I'll do now is to just head over to my sewing machine to stitch it all together. I'm done stitching all the pieces together here, guys, and this is what it's looking like. So I'll just place it aside. Then I'll also pin down all the lining pieces together as I do for my fabrics, and I will head over to my sewing machine to stitch the lining also together. I already stitched my lining together here, and this is what it's looking like. So now, guys, I will turn my corset to the wrong side, and I'll use my pressing iron to press all the places that I use my sewing machine to stitch down. Can you see now, guys? I've used my iron to press it down, and this is what it's looking like now. So now I'll be placing my bias on the areas that I stitch, and I'll go ahead and stitch my bias to those areas for my boning. I'll use my bias as my boning case so that my boning can pass through it. I already stitched down my bias, guys, and the next thing I'm doing now is to pass by my boning through the bias. I will make sure my boning is not reaching the up and it's not also reaching the downside of my bias, so that it will be easier for me to use my lining to turn my corset belt. So guys, I'll be inserting my boning into my boning case, and as you can see, it won't be that easy. The struggle is real. It is somehow difficult for the boning to pass through the bias. That is my boning case, but I will just be a little patient with it and I'll do it gently. When inserting your boning case also, it might be somehow difficult. Just be patient with it and do it gently. I already insert all my boning here, and the next thing I'll be doing now is to place my lining on my fabrics right side facing each other. Then I will head over to my sewing machine to stitch both the up and the down parts. So now, guys, I already used my lining to turn my fabrics, and the next thing I'll be doing now is just to turn my fabrics to the right side. So now, guys, I'm done turning it to the right side, and I've also gone ahead to use my iron to iron it out, and it is looking so neat. The next thing I'll be doing now is to fold my belt into 2 equal halves as you see me do. Then after that, I will mark out 1.5 inches on my belt. So now I'll cut out the part that I marked out. I already cut out this tiny piece of about 1.5 inches off camera. I cut out 8 pieces of them. So what I'm going to be doing now is just to fold them into 2 and place them at both sides of my corset belt. Then I'll use my pin to pin them down before heading to the sewing machine to stitch it down. I will do the same for the other side as well. So guys, this is what I have after I've attached my loop holes to both sides of my corset belt. What is left for me now is to just attach my tiny rope on the loop holes on my corset belt. So guys, I used my bias to make a long tiny rope, and I'll be attaching it to my corset belt. So guys, I honestly like the way this corset belt turned out. Let me know in the comment section if you'll be making yours too. You can style this corset belt with a shirt, and you can style it with a gown. If you watched this video to this very place, thank you so much. You are the real MVP. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so to subscribe and join this amazing sewing family. And also don't forget to turn on your post notification bells to get notifications anytime I post new videos on this channel. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.